Look, we all know that nothing can unite or divide a people quite like religion, right? If you're on the side of religion, you're one of the faithful. It could be a way to find answers in a world of uncertainty. Religion helps to provide a moral code, and depending upon your faith, religion could also offer you a life beyond this one. The flip side is, to many non-believers, religion is just a bunch of ancient myths used to justify repression, hypocrisy, and violence. The battle is as old as religion itself. Well, now, two of the sharpest satirical minds working today are in on the fight. Bill Maher and Larry Charles. Bill Maher, you know, as a hold-nothing-back talk show host.
Lobbing cruise missiles from 2,000 miles away.
Absolutely.
That's cowardly.
That is a
Staying in the airplane when it hits the building. Say what you want about it, not cowardly, you're right.
Larry Charles made his name behind the scenes as a writer and producer on shows like Seinfeld, Curb Your Enthusiasm, and Entourage. Oh, by the way, Larry Charles also directed a little film called Borat.
We support your war of terror.
Well, now, Maher and Charles have joined forces for a new documentary called Religulous. That's right, religion and ridiculous put together. In the film, Bill Maher goes to some of the world's most popular religious destinations, from Jerusalem to the Vatican. He talks to Jewish scholars, Jesus impersonators, Muslims, you name it. Now, if for some reason you're wondering where Maher and Charles stand on the issue, let's just say, if you believe in that sort of thing, they just might have to dodge a few lightning bolts if they're wrong. Here's a look.
You're a senator. It worries me that people are running my country who believe in a talking snake.
You don't have to pass an IQ test to be in the Senate, though.
Please say hello to Bill Maher and Larry Charles. Generally when you ask somebody, how a project came to be, the answer could kind of be, all right, well, not that exciting. But I imagine a project like this has some interesting beginning to it. Let's make a film about religion, kind of.
I think we both feel, weirdly enough, that it was kind of like God's will.
Well, that sucks because your whole thesis is wrong then.
We have lived in kind of like the same world for many years without knowing each other and having, of course, a lot of the same interests and concerns and being of the same generation. And we were brought together, and as soon as we were brought together, it's like, wow, it's like, how did we not ever talk all this time? And we immediately hit it off, and we had ideas, and everything really just
that's Larry's version of it. I remember it quite differently.
Yes, please.
No, I'm kidding.
But it's true. It was a very blessed, I hate to use all these words, it's very ironic, believe me, I recognize that. But it was a very blessed kind of project. We decided to do it. We got the money, we did it. It was like a very quick thing right into the filming of it, and it was an extremely exciting, life-changing experience for me. I don't know what it did for him.
Well, it was quick for him. I'd been trying to get this film made for years. I just needed the right director.
Right.
And when he walked in the door, I knew I had the right director.
Now, you know that when you're going to make a film like Religulous, people are just going to see the title, they're going to know that it's you two involved, and they're going to make automatic assumptions without ever having seen the picture. So, tell them what the picture is.
The film is about religion. I'm against it. And, as a comedian, I like to comede. And there's nothing more comedic to me than religion. Even when I started out, and we show clips from my early days when I was like 25 years old doing The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, doing religion jokes. But they weren't scathing jokes. They were just sort of making fun kind of religion jokes. But it was always a topic that I thought was amusing because, as a comedian, you can't do better than a talking snake, and, a guy lived inside of a whale, and, people go to a building on Sunday and think they're drinking the blood of a space god. It's just... Well, it is the most preposterous story you've ever heard.
Big fish.
The big fish thing, that's in the movie, right?
The whale.
The basic, I know that many Christians are probably here. We're not trying to offend, but if it happens. And just the basic story that, God had a son, he's a single parent. And he said, son, I'm going to send you on a suicide mission to Earth. But don't worry, they can't kill you because you're really me. But it is going to hurt for about 3 days. I'm not going to get about that. But son, I'm doing it for your own good. My good, because you're me and I'm you. So, you know, it's so easy, I thought, as a comedian. This was like the ultimate target.
But the movie isn't just that you're against religion, because you actually have the other side of it where you just say, I don't know. So it's not so much that there is no anything, it's that I don't know that there's anything, so nobody else knows.
These beliefs, in a sense, prevent us from exploring those questions. That's the thing. We are stuck in these old beliefs that are preventing us from looking at the big picture here, which is a lot of questions that are about the universe and where we come from, where we're going, that are not dealt with seriously because of this sort of adherence to these crazy old, fairy tales.
But there's how many, 16% you said of Americans don't claim to believe in a God?
That's right.
Yeah.
Would call themselves atheist or agnostic, terms I don't like because they have a pejorative meaning now. I just call people rationalists who don't believe in crazy
But then
stuff.
implying that those who believe in a religion are irrational.
They are. How can you not be irrational if you believe that, both Jesus and Muhammad flew up to heaven bodily. Right. Bodily. Not the spirit. We're talking about, hey, Santa. Oh, look, it's Santa. Oh, there's Superman. If part of your mind can go, okay, Superman flies bodily, but we know it's a fantasy and a story, and Santa Claus flies and the Flying Nun, but we know there's stories. But Jesus and Muhammad, no, that's real. When they flew up, it was for real. The other people were just,
You mentioned Muhammad because as the film plays out, different facets of organized religion, come you get into your sniper. They're doing Christianity, not just Jews, but Jews for Jesus. You bring them into the mix as well. You do a great Scientology bit when you're standing at...
The variations are so fascinating also. It's not just Jews, but Jews for Jesus and ex-Jews for Jesus.
Yeah.
And ex-Jews for ex-Jesus. There's a whole
And then there's the Jews that don't believe in the Holocaust, and you had that guy in pictures of him and
Jews don't believe in Israel. There's a lot of variations on these themes.
But the question everybody has in that theater when they're watching, going, okay, well, they take on Islam, and then you do.
Yes.
Did you have a real conversation? Because taking on Islam in the modern world is a very different thing than taking on a Judeo-Christian God.
Why? What'd you hear?
Well, I don't know if anybody told you, but where you were filming is where Theo Van Gogh was killed.
Yes, we stood on the spot there, But the fact of the matter is you couldn't do this movie without, you couldn't make a movie called Religulous and deal with any subjects at all without dealing with that. Because that really becomes the central conflict, is the conflict that's taking place in the Middle East, which the Muslims and the Jews and the Christians are all involved in. And so we had to explore that. It would have been dishonest to avoid it.
Recognizing the value that whatever religion is plays in a lot of people's lives, and not the ones that you see on television blabbering on about it, or the organized political movements in any religion. You see that there is a meaning provided in some people's lives. And how do you make a film like this, or do you even care when you make a film like this about just pissing away on somebody's value system that provides some sort of meaning to them?
Well, we don't, though, really. I think Bill and myself, we're relatively respectful. The idea of people using religion to be kind to one another, to be tolerant to one another, we're all for that. That's fine. What we're saying is that the belief systems, the actual things are ridiculous, A, and B, most people in the world do not use religion for that purpose. They use religion as a weapon against someone else. And that's one of the things we're really against.
Let's be honest. We're not that kind. And I don't think we have to be, because they've never been kind to us.
Right.
The United States Congress has 535 members. There's not one atheist. Okay? We're not represented. If a lot of people had their way, atheists in America, they'd be treated like dogs. So they don't respect my opinion. I have respect for everybody as a human being. But intellectual respect, I'm sorry. You could have my tolerance, you can't have my respect.
And you only guarantee
if you believe in the
tolerance too,
talking
right?
snake, you can't have my intellectual respect. If you're an adult, if you're a child, that's great. If you want to believe in the old book of Jewish fairy tales and you're a child, that's fine. Mother Goose, good. But, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And, I make no apologies for that. These belief systems have held humanity back. We have a vice presidential candidate now in America who is a Jesus freak. And I read her quote on my show last night about Iraq. It was something like, God has a plan. And, well, obviously God doesn't have a plan, and neither did George Bush.
Also a Jesus freak, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
But
So these people and their primitive beliefs actually do affect my life. So I don't have to apologize about going after them. One of the criticisms we've gotten already about the movie, I've had people say this to me, is, well, you know, you go after the extremists, so you make religion look bad. It's all extreme.
Right.
If you believe in anything that is this irrational, you are an extremist. That's extremely irrational. And the people we talk to in the movie are not extremists. They are mainstream people. Mm-hmm. And there is this thing in America, people think that they can somehow be religion and still be a rational person. Mm-hmm. I've had people say to me literally, you know, Bill, I hear you. Believe me, you know, I believe in Jesus, just not that Bible stuff.
Right.
Well, he's a character in the Bible.
Yes.
Where do you think you read about
It's kind
him?
of a big part of that story, too.
Right. Pretty important.
We've seen, you know, there is not an appetite for tolerance from this perspective.
I think there actually is such a growing movement here, and there are so many people who are getting on board. I don't worry, because I think there's an army of people who feel like this. And it's a sort of I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus.
We felt like this is a movie that we both felt had to be made, we both felt we had to make, and maybe it took two middle-aged white guys with balls to do it, but that's the way it worked out.
Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you, George.
Come on, let's see you. Larry Charles. Great to see you. Thank you very much. Come on, Maher and Charles. Religulous is the film. It opens in theaters on October the 3rd. The Hour will be right back.